And the good news is that Martin Brundle is back in the race, still in 5th position in the Brabham Yamaha, and if he stays there, that will be the highest finish that he and his team have had this year, and it would be the first time that Martin Brundle had finished in the points this year. Very welcome for Brabham, because one of the things that the teams worry about, who are not right at the front in terms of race achievements, is whether or not they are going to have to take part in the dreaded pre-qualifying, that intense hour between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock on Friday morning, when this year 8 cars have taken part for 4 to go through. Normally 2 of them in the second half of the season were the Brabham Yamahas, and if they got 3 points this season, thanks to another 2 from Brundle, who is currently in 5th position, it would mean that they were very safe from having to pre-qualify in 1992. Martin Brundle is not going to be one of their drivers. Mark Blundell is not going to be one of their drivers. There are all sorts of rumours about who will be competing for Brabham in 1992. One of the names that's been put forward is that of Damon Hill, who is, of course, the son of the late and great, several times world champion Graham Hill. And you look now at Alain Prost in 4th position in the Ferrari. He's one of only 3 men who has not been lapped by Ayrton Senna on lap 44. The other 2 being Gerhard Berger in 2nd position and Riccardo Patrese in 3rd place in this race where so many people have dropped out. Martini, Schumacher, Herbert, Suzuki, Mansell, Zanardi, Häkkinen, Pirro, Wendlinger, JJ Leto and Alesi. It is not at all unusual in a Grand Prix. In fact, it is usual for something like 13 of the 26 starters to finish. And there are a lot of people that say, in this high-tech world, can't they even build a car that'll last for about 200 miles? And the answer is that they could, of course, with no difficulty at all. But it would not be a car that was absolutely a 10/10ths vehicle for the whole race. And you've got to get the balance right between maximum speed and reliability, and not everybody does it. McLaren usually do, and thus far this year Gerhard Berger, who has actually suffered from reliability problems far more than Ayrton Senna, he's now in 2nd position. You're watching Martin Brundle in 5th position, the very popular driver from Kings Lynn, who won at Le Mans for Jaguar, who was world champion in the sports car category for Jaguar in 1988, and is one of the few drivers who has been able to go from Grand Prix racing to sports car racing and back again, and then do it a second time. Brundle, of course, has driven for Williams in one race in Belgium, and he's also driven for the Zach Speed team. And for Tyrrell, and now you're watching Stefano Modena, who is in 6th position. So Senna, Berger, Patrese, Prost, then lapped in 5th position Martin Brundle, 6th is Stefano Modena, and it has not been a good race for Japanese drivers, with Aguri Suzuki having retired, who finished in 3rd position last year. The only Japanese driver ever to stand on the podium for the first 3 people in a Grand Prix, and nor was it a good race for Satoru Nakajima, who finished 6th last year. And Tyrrell are likely to be in the points again, and it's a long time since one of the Tyrrell team drivers was in the points. Stefano Modena finished 2nd in Canada. That was the last time that they were in the points. The team which started off with so much promise with their Harvey Postlethwaite designed car, which went so well in the hands of Jean Alesi last year, and the Honda V10 engine, sadly seemed to crumble a bit after Postlethwaite left them this season and joined Mercedes. We think to work on a Formula One program. They're very cagey about it, Mercedes, but there are strong signs from their support of Michael Schumacher and Karl Wendlinger, for whom they paid a lot of money to drive for the Jordan, Benetton and Leighton House teams, that indications that Mercedes are coming back into Grand Prix racing. But Mercedes, being Mercedes, will only do that if they think they are going, if they know in their hearts that they are going to win. And that is not easy, of course, against today's competition. Senna leads, and you see in the background Gerhard Berger. We're on lap 46 in this 53-lap Japanese Grand Prix, with Ayrton Senna looking comfortable for his second win in Japan, and that would more than underline his popularity here. He's the only Honda driver to have won in Honda's home country, and if he made it twice in 5 Grand Prix, it would be absolutely marvellous from Japan's point of view. So under the crossover goes Ayrton Senna, and he's on his 46th lap now. You might think that at this stage of the race, having driven 45 laps already, there would be a danger of him losing concentration, missing a gear, missing a braking point, missing his line on a corner. But Senna is in his 125th Grand Prix, and he's got the stimulus, of course, of knowing that in a situation where he so much wants to win the World Championship from the front by winning in Japan, he's got Gerhard Berger almost breathing down his exhaust pipe. 301 kilometres an hour, that's getting on for 200 miles an hour. See the way the speed goes down on the chicane. They roll through that very slowly into the right hand, and now you will see the start and finish straight in front of you as Senna goes down it, building up to, as Berger goes down it at over 300 miles an hour into turn 1. 200 miles an hour, 300 kilometres an hour, and now into the S-curve.
Doesn't sound as nice, the Honda V12 from the onboard microphone right beside the air intakes for the engine, as it does from the exhaust note from outside the car. So there is Berger, still battling to stay with Senna. Since he got to within sort of just under 3 seconds of Ayrton Senna, he's got no closer and hasn't been able to mount an actual challenge to try and pass him. And now he's really struggling to hold that gap.
Well, in Britain, of course, it is the early hours of the morning, and a lot of people there will have got up to watch this race. In Australia, where they usually get up early in the morning or stay up very late at night, this race is being run at a half reasonable time for them. And I suspect as Berger comes up to lap Tarquini, a lot of people in Australia will be feeling a bit disillusioned. They were hoping that the Grand Prix World Championship was going to be decided in Australia for the first time since 1986, when Nigel Mansell went out so memorably and Alain Prost won the championship. But I would say to people in Australia, don't be disheartened, because it means to say that with the World Championship having been resolved, the thing that Ayrton Senna was hoping for in Japan will now happen in Australia. He will have had the World Championship behind him. He will be World Champion for the 3rd time, and it will, in his own words, in Australia instead of Japan, be a race where there are no pressures on anybody for the World Championship, and everybody can go for it as an individual for victory in what to them is the most enjoyable race of the year in Adelaide. It's the end of the season. It's a magnificent course. It is superb organisation. They like the climate, they like the people, they like everything. So don't be disheartened, Australia. The best could yet be to come. Not quite the best for Ayrton Senna, because